Hello everyone. I wanted to come on here and talk about something really personal that happened to me last year, this exact day, a year ago. With this year, there have been so many people put in traumatic, really difficult situations, and I'm not the first, and I have never been the first, and I understand that. I hope that maybe in some way, if you are going through a healing process, maybe in some way it could be cathartic for you to have somebody else talk about their experience and something that you've gone through. Even if it doesn't necessarily have an impact upon your life, it's something that's greatly impacted me, still does, and I'm still trying to deal with it. October last year, there was a lot of stress in my family. Just at work, I had a lot going on. There was a family member that ended up being in a really scary place. There was a lot of stress from that and not being able to sleep and being worried about them. And that family member, by the way, now it is good. Like, all of my family is like, contact everybody, so I make everybody aware. It was really scary. I ended up getting really run down and I got sick. I wasn't feeling great. Too late to call in, so I went into work. Ended up having a fever at work. Through the day, it was miserable. And then I went home. I had to call out sick. I shouldn't have worked that day, and I don't know what I was doing. I should have told them, I need to call out. I need to go home. I have a fever right now. Poor choice. Don't do that if you feel sick. Don't feel guilty about telling your employer or your manager. Your health is more important than that. That started a sort of spiral. I ended up having a fever off and on for... My memory of this is not the best necessarily, so bear with me. I know it was at least a week and a half, probably closer to 2 weeks. The only thing that would make it go away was taking ibuprofen, be fever free, and then immediately it would just come back. I've had lots of respiratory illnesses. It's my weak area my whole life. When I was a kid, I had some serious stuff happen. All the stuff that we typically use wasn't making any difference. Instead of starting to feel like I could breathe better, my ability to breathe was getting worse. It was requiring so much energy. I would get to a place and I'd have to sit there for 10 to 15 minutes before I could get up and go back to my bed. Like, it was that bad. One day my family was out, and all I did was I went to the kitchen to get a drink of water. Like, I was trying to walk there, and I was having to sit down. I hadn't even got to the fridge. I sat there for 20 minutes, and I tried to get myself up and will my body to move, but I couldn't. I just sat there crying, and I couldn't move. And then I crawled over to dining room chair, sat there, unable to get back to my room until they got home. It was a mess, and upset and delirious. And of course, my mom's and what's going on. I still had a fever, and so she said, we need to take you to urgent care. I couldn't even answer the nurse's questions. I was just struggling to breathe so much. Took your heart rate, and they took your oxygen and all those sorts of things. Immediately tell she was concerned, and resting oxygen rate, like not doing anything, was at 80%. And so she said they needed to admit me to the hospital as soon as possible. I really want to thank the people at urgent care because they waived all fees. They didn't make us pay for anything because they said the hospital would have done the same, and they just needed me to get in there and get help. In shock, and my family went back to the house. I just stayed in the car trying not to cry and just to breathe. The essentials, like clothing and toothbrush and anything you would need. I basically just had a breakdown on the way to the hospital. Tried to get all of my siblings while we were on the way there. I genuinely thought that I was gonna die in the hospital and not be able to make it out of there. We got there and obviously got, went to the emergency room, IVs and stuff and oxygen and all that. For me, literally never been to the hospital other than being born there. I was there for multiple hours. I know it was really hard. Main thing I do remember was just hearing somebody that was being rolled by, like on the gurney or whatever, and someone was screaming, and that just really scared me. I had to try to calm me down. All I know is it was dark. I don't remember what time it was when it got me up to my room. My parents weren't able to stay overnight. I was so scared, just being left alone. What if you come back in the morning and I'm not here? Like, gone. I can't tell you why. I can't remember my doctor's name, but I can remember my nurse's name. I had multiple nurses, but one of the ones that really stuck out, only there for first 2 days, his name was Akia. She was the best. Just tried to comfort me and stay with me until I fell asleep. She really was just a wonderful person to help me get through a very difficult time. Okay. I wish I knew her last name. I wish I knew how to reach out to her and thank her. There was another really amazing nurse that reminded me of somebody at my workplace. The way he looked, I felt like it was my coworker, you know, somebody familiar. There, the last 2 days, and was the one that, you know, eventually like helped me out to the car. David and Kia, there were two of the people that were absolutely wonderful. I got there October the 20th. Being up early, we woke up in the middle of the night, all kinds of stuff as hospitals usually are. At one point I ended up starting walking, you know, the halls and stuff, trying to get my strength up. It was really hard seeing all those people in the other rooms and not knowing if they were going to get out, if I was going to get out. A bunch of people from last year saw my stories I put up while I was in the hospital. That was me not dealing with everything and not being okay. Trying to deal with the fact that I might not make it out of the hospital and trying to reach out for any human connection because I felt like I was not part of this world anymore. Just trying to just maintain all ties to it. Most alone I've ever been in my life. I'm amazed I'm not crying right now. I did this morning, so maybe that helped a little. Continuing the story, they test your oxygen levels every day using a spirometer. You can look that up if you really want to know. I'm technically supposed to be using a habit with me at home. I'm not good at using it because it brings back a lot of unpleasant memories. I was in there till the 24th, 25th. I got to go home, so 4 to 5 days. And my mom was there with me every single day. I would not have made it through without her. Just so thankful. Already are close, but this really just brought us to a new level of closeness. Please tell your family members that you love them and how thankful you are for them. You never know how long you have. None of us know. It's really important to make each day count. Out of the hospital, and obviously a long recovery period, just getting my strength back and all that, and readjusting to being at home. I have survivor's guilt. Why was I spared and not somebody else? Or why are these other people in the hospital still here? And why did I get to leave? Major thing I dealt with after that, or really getting into this over the years, I dealt with a lot of physical symptoms of what I didn't know was anxiety. Why I was left here on this earth. Just a lot of emotional breakdowns, a lot of really, really rough months, not being able to function, crying and just being in the bathroom at work and just trying to get through each day. It was just torture. Ended up going to see somebody. Plenty of people do at first, getting on some sort of medication to deal with it, because this is on a day-to-day basis. For that moment, to have the help of medication just to be able to function and do my job. I wanted that to only be for as long as necessary, but temporary. For me, as most people could say, they don't want to be on medication, be afraid of being hooked on it or not being able to survive or function without it. I wanted to be able to have more natural methods or therapy. I'm working my way finished with all of that due to a lot of complications with this year and a lot of things with healthcare being shut down. There's been a lot of issues with that. So we've had to kind of try and work on developing natural alternatives. You can get through this, whether you discover that you have issues, deal with something like anxiety. So many people do. Wanted to talk about this last month, just dealing with it being Suicide Awareness Month, mental health in general, and how so many of those things are interconnected. That this year has really leveled the playing field. So many people are in the same position. Dealing with our problems is important. You know, if you just shove something down, it doesn't go away. Now I could say it. I couldn't say it before. Is that I'm making this, and I haven't been a ball of tears. I know I said it earlier. This is something that's been really really hard for me. The anxiety was present before this, and now I can see it and say that it's not something to be ashamed of. Before, I would try and just explain it to like my family, or just say, you know, like symptoms of like what I was feeling, and I didn't understand it myself. Just like, oh, it's some weird physical thing. It didn't make any sense, and I felt stupid trying to talk about it. Like, it must just be in my head. I just need to deal with it and not say anything. It's been a major positive, besides just having major reflection on my life. It doesn't take having an experience like that to be able to have a mental shift, talking and thinking about those important things that really do matter, and learning to really use your time, learn what is most important, and look around you and evaluate. Get past those superficial things and really look at what you want, which I am still doing. I'm not finished. I am very much a work in progress. I'm still very much affected by this. Today has been a really hard day. I woke up just having a lot of really strong memories and unpleasant things that made me really upset. I'm very happy I'm able to deal with this. You know, my illness brought this to the forefront. I had to deal with this immediately because it affected me so badly on a day-to-day. That really, in the long term, little did I know, I was so embarrassed about it. I would just try and hide the fact that I had to take any sort of medication or anything like that. I was so embarrassed about it for dealing with a really difficult experience. Anyone would be struggling with healing from that, and that it's normal to deal with those things. I want you to know, whatever place that you're in, if you're dealing with something, you're going to talk with your family or your friends, or you haven't and you feel like you can't, I really encourage you to. You have so much clarity after doing that. It's important to find somebody that you truly trust and you feel safe telling them. And it's not just a one-time thing. You talk to them, you have one time to make them understand. You talk to them multiple times of working, as they help you back and forth, give and take. They help you try and understand it, and you try and understand yourself. And over time, you begin to work it out. I'm trying to learn not just distract myself and deal it and, you know, just push it aside, because that's not healthy. It doesn't get rid of your problems. My anxiety is a lot better than it used to be. In a really strange way, this has been a gift. It brought that to the surface and helped me to deal with an underlying problem that I really didn't even know that I had. Where your situation is, and be able to reach out and ask for help. I'm not saying that I immediately can just go and talk to anybody about my problems. That's something that, I'm human, we're all human. It's something that we all have to work through. It's okay to be scared, and it's alright to not know what comes next, just to take it day by day. That's what I had to do, and I had to stop trying to look forward, because whenever I would just look forward, I would just spiral. I had to look at what was in front of me and work with what I had. Learning to take what you can from a traumatic event, take it and move forward with your life. Try to understand why this had happened to me. See so many other people that have been in pain or been in difficult situations has really brought a great deal of understanding in relation to that. Whether I like it or not, it's part of who I am and part of my story. Whatever you are going through right now, whatever you need to talk about or you need to face, know that you can do it. It's a process. If what I have talked about helps you at all or encourages you to get the help that you need, that's something that's really important to me. I don't want you to feel alone. Life is too short to be alone and be upset. I've had many years of being depressed, isolating myself and being alone. I'm not saying it's something that you can fix overnight, because it isn't. Do the best that you can to move forward. And you've been in this bubble all by yourself, so you can't get yourself out of the problem. Letting those people that you trust in, finding those that you can trust, letting them help you help yourself. It's very much ranty and it's out of the blue. And my goal of talking about this is to help other people, as I've tried to learn, understand, and take what I can from this experience. Thank you for listening to my story. I really hope that you're having a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Reach out to those you love and let them know that you love them. Make each day count. I love you a lot. Bye.